thing that you need in your business in order to get out of your own way so you can unleash abundance flow, so that you can create all the things you desire, how you can get out of your own way. So if you're here live with me, let me know, wave, so I know you're here. And if you're watching on replay, hashtag replay, so that I know you've been here. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments as I go on. So we so often need to get out of our own way in order to let that flow of what we're trying to create to actually occur. Like, you know that you're meant to go to the top, right? Like, you can feel it in your being. You're not somebody who's gonna play small. You're not somebody who's just gonna have your business work a little bit, just enough, just to pay the bills, just to sort of to call it a little bit more than a hobby. You're somebody who actually wants to go to the top. You can see yourself in that role. Like, you want not only 10K months, you want 20K, 30K, 50, 100K months. Like, you can see yourself getting to that huge next level, even if you're not there yet, but that is part of your perception. Something that you can't imagine. You can feel that abundance flow, and you love to play with it. When it happens, it feels so much fun. And you're a spiritual coach, or maybe you're a healer, maybe you're a transformation expert, or something that is working with the human consciousness. And that also means that you're a very conscious person, right? Because we know that we cannot help somebody else to go to the next level of consciousness if we don't do that work on ourselves. So you're great at what you do. You're probably getting love notes from your clients saying about like, oh my God, you helped me so much. That was so awesome. Thank you very, very much. And you probably have presence on a social media. You're getting your clients that way. You're showing up. So you're doing the things. You probably have offers that are, 5,000, 8,000, 10,000, like you're comfortable charging higher fees for what you do. But you get in your own way and you know it. Those are the things that make it hard. Like when you're trying to be consistent and you trying to show up and do all the things like you plan on doing, like you're going to be there present, top of mind for your clients, you're going to show up and present consistently or go live once a week or whatever your plan is, but then you don't feel inspired. You start doing it and your emotion comes up. And now you're having this emotional wave that takes you down. Like, put in the comments if that ever happened to you. When you had a plan, an awesome plan, you knew what you were gonna do, and then suddenly, oops, you got your emotional spin and you could not do it. You just got distracted. This is where you see when people show up very consistently and a lot with amazing message for a short period of time, and it feels like, wow, this person is really interesting, like maybe I want to know more about how to work with her, and then she disappears for maybe a month or two because she just had to take some time off to get away, to find herself, whatever. But meanwhile, the business presence was gone. So then whoever was maybe starting to get interested through all this amazing value that she was providing suddenly can't find her and they forget about her existence. When a person like that then reappears, months or two later, in a sense, you have to build the momentum all over again. You just lost the momentum you were building. In other words, she got in her own way, and now she has to build all this momentum again and remind people about who she is, which is so much harder. Maybe you are ready to sit down and write your amazing post. Like, you have this idea what you're gonna write, it's gonna be great, you're ready for it, and you sit down and suddenly you feel tired. You just feel exhausted. You just can't even, you get so sleepy and you can't do it. So put in the comments if that ever happened to you. That's a very common example. When you are so ready to do something, but then it just fizzles out and nothing happens because you get too tired or too sleepy or confused. That's another one. When you suddenly don't know what you were going to write, or why should you write it, and it's probably not that good, and what if nobody's gonna want it, and it kind of starts spinning you out. That is also getting in your own way. That's what it looks like. Or maybe you're downloaded this amazing message from the universe. Like, I work with very self-aware people who are connected to multidimensional reality. All my clients are, conscious leaders of some sort, coaches or healers in that personal transformation niche. So we all get those downloads when something happens and you just like, wow, this is an amazing message. I have to give it to my audience. This is so cool. They so need it. It's going to land amazingly. You're going to go live. You're going to tell them. And then you get distracted. And then something happens. Your dog, your cat, your child, your husband, your whatever. Suddenly all the things happen. The phone rings, the email tells you that you need to reply right away. And you don't go live. You don't deliver that amazing message. That's another way of getting in our own way, because universe was giving you this awesome flow, but then you got distracted. So put in the comments if that happens with you. When you are ready to do something, when you got this inspiration, and then you just get distracted. What does that look like for you? That experience is how we get in our own way. See, what's going on for you when that happens is either your subconscious story does not agree with your conscious mind, or it's your physical body that does not agree with your conscious mind. See, we're not just one being. We are made of different parts psychologically. So there is a conscious part of you. That's the part that decides and says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I believe in this. Okay, that's what we're aware of. Then there is subconscious part, as in something that's kind of under the surface. You might be sort of aware of it, but it's not as obvious. That's the part that has its own agenda. And its agenda is to protect us. So it does not care about whatever the dream you have or whatever the vision you have, whatever you want to achieve and create in your life. Like if you want more money, if you want more premium level clients, if you want to sell your program, if you want an amazing relationship, if you want to be invited to something awesome, that part of you does not care about that. All that part, subconscious part, cares about is to keep you safe. And it has its own way of thinking about how to make that happen, which usually goes against the conscious desire that you have. So that's kind of explanation here of what happens for you in the scenario where those things that are sabotaging you show up in your life, right? Your body is another part of you that is actually has its own way of functioning, that it has its own understanding of what it needs that also does not always agree with what your conscious mind wants. Your consciousness might say, awesome, I'm going to go live, I'm going to deliver that message. And the body says, oh, no, they're not going to like you, or you're not going to be perfect, and then you're going to be humiliated, and it's not going to work, and then it's going to all be bad, so we better not. And that's why it gets sleepy. It's just essentially takes you out of the game in attempt to protect you. We get in our own way like this all the time. See, the subconscious stories that you might be having on the background, they might be something like, I'm not good enough to do this. So that's what your subconsciousness then will try to protect you from confirming, in a sense, because that subconscious part of you already believes it, right? Your subconscious side might believe that you will not get the result. So then why try, right? Because if you try and then you don't get the result, well, then it proves that you can't get the result, which means you're not good enough or it will never work for you or whatever the story is. That's a subconscious sabotaging story that goes under the surface of your consciousness. Like, put in the comments if you had that experience before. You know, when you showed up with something and then internal story of this type that I just named sabotaged you. And you kind of like got in your own way. So this amazing thing, this inspiration that happened, didn't actually get born because you stopped the process with the fear. It happens all the time. Another thing that might be going on in your subconscious, a very common one, is I'm not ready. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not ready. It's not quite up to whatever standard I think it should be. and then you spend all this time tweaking your website copy, or messing with your banner, making sure that things a little to the left, a little to the right, maybe I should change the color, or you want to go live, but you're like, well, let me rewrite more of my points, what I'm going to speak about, or maybe I should just go free flow. Oh, my hair is not looking good, or wait a minute, I need a different, jewelry or something like that. And before long, the energy fizzles out because we get stuck in trying to comfort ourselves incorrectly. That way of comforting is actually detrimental. In a way, it's acquiescing to the part of us that wants to sabotage us, even though in its origin, it's trying to protect us. See, what's going on for you when you feel that is that protection. When you're trying to do something and your internal subconscious story is telling you, oh, no, don't go there, this will be bad idea, that is internally a form of protection. The reason we have those stories is not because like some evil part of us wants to sabotage us, right? It's because we got hurt and we're trying to prevent pain from happening again. But it is an incorrect way of doing it, which is why things get sabotaged, and then the correct action that you wanted to do does not happen. So for the body, when your physical body is sabotaging you, like maybe you end up feeling too tired or too sleepy, or something happens and you can't think straight. That's a very common one that I hear from my clients, that when they ready to go do something, suddenly they get disoriented, they get confused, they get scared, and their mind stops focusing and there's a moment of lostness. Put in the comments if you ever felt that lostness. That is actually a physical response. That does not mean there's anything physically wrong with you, but it does mean that there is a physical response. See, the physical body might be low on sugar, so blood sugar drops, so then you need to raise that up. It might be low on protein, there's not enough fuel, so then you need to make sure you eat something. Maybe you're starting it without fuel for the task that you want to create. Maybe you are stuck in the trauma. The brain has the memory of past traumas. So trauma, pretty much, people use this word all the time, and a lot of times there's a misconception that trauma is some horrible, huge event. Actually, trauma simply means that something occurred, it was very intense, negative emotion that your amygdala in your brain recorded, and then that charge didn't have anywhere to go. So it created a very sharp pathway through your brain. In other words, it created a neuron pathway that got stuck. That neuron pathway is kind of like a road that was traveled by something very big and it left a mark. So then afterwards, whatever you're experiencing when a situation is similar to whatever that original experience was, now it registers as trauma because in your brain, there is already a heavy made path for your neurons for the electrical charge to travel. So if something similar occurs, the electrical charge will jump into that pathway because it's so big and strongly made. That's what we call trauma. It's essentially going over and over and over the same pathway. And the more you do it, actually, the stronger it gets, not weaker. So a lot of times people think that they heal the trauma by tuning into it and processing it. And that's actually not quite the case, because even though, yes, you want to be aware of the trauma, but healing it is a whole other story. And with over 20 years of experience as a conscious coach and a wealth energetics and transcension mentor, I can definitely tell you that over-processing is a problem when people dive into the emotional problem thinking that I'm sharing this emotion and somehow it's going to eventually run out. No, you're just encoding it more. So there are proper ways to deal with how the body is sabotaging it based on that trauma. And the trauma could be from this lifetime or actually from previous lifetimes. Like if you spoke your truth and you got killed for it in another lifetime, in this lifetime, you might be ready to go on your Facebook Live or Instagram Live with amazing message, and then suddenly your body feels like you're gonna faint, or your belly starts hurting, or your heart hurts and you can't do it. That's actually the response from the past life overlaying your body now, because the body says, oh, no, if we go live right now with the message, we're gonna get killed. Of course, you're not going to get killed being on video, but that's the work that needs to be done. See, what's happening for you when that is going on is that your body is sabotaging your soul-aligned action because it has a different agenda. And the common misconception here is that when we get in our own way, what we need to do is just do it. Just go for it, just do it. Kind of like override it, your subconscious or your body. And nothing can be further from the truth. What you really need is to work with your subconscious, work with your physical body in order to resolve this. What you really need is this cooperation internally, not more separation. Like, put in the comments if you agree, if that's making sense for you. What this means is that you need to reprogram your brain. You need to essentially rewire your brain from how it was wired incorrectly so that you can show up, so that you can download amazing message, so that you can bring it to the audience, so that you can pull in amazing abundance and money and people and opportunities, because you're not having all those stories about, oh no, if I get noticed, bad things happen. And then you're trying to go out there and attract clients. Why would they come to you if your subconscious story is telling you, no, we don't want clients, because if they come and what, we can't handle it, we're not good enough, we're not ready, or we get killed, right? So working with this thing behind the scenes in your own brain, in your own body, in your own subconscious is the pathway to help you cooperate with yourself so that you can actually create the type of abundance flow that you desire. And that way you get to follow through on your commitments. I know you're really committed to your soul work, right? Like, you wouldn't be here in this group doing this thing if you weren't, because you care. You want to bring your message to the world, right? You want to change the consciousness on this planet. But the only way that's going to happen is if you first change your own consciousness so that you become the type of a leader that can deliver your soul work to the world. That's the follow through on your commitments. But you must do it in a way that is natural for you. See, this is where we get into the energetics of your abundance personality type. So this is the component that pretty much most people miss in business. And doing this work for over 20 years, I can tell you that without that, nothing really works. Because we think that somehow there's like generic way of getting out of your own way. Like, oh, if I just did this, or believe that, and I'm just like convince myself to do this, it will be fine. When in reality, you have your own unique abundance personality type. It's a special sort of a combination of different factors. It's like a map. It's like a blueprint of how you meant to do things, how you meant to make decisions, how you meant to attract things into your life, what you need to watch out for that you might be doing, that you need to stop doing, what you need to actually allow yourself to do, when internally you might be feeling like, well, I don't know, my parents told me I shouldn't, or my, friends told me this is maybe not a good idea, or whatever. It's actually, there's certain things that you're meant to do, being a specific type, and there's certain things you're meant to not to do. And they're different for different people. So when you try to do things in this kind of a cookie cutter way that, well, everybody does it, so I should do it, and somehow it's gonna just work for me, what you end up with is a lot of hardship. That's how we create hustle. This is how we create this negative, stuck in a doing, marketing activities, posting, doing all the things, and getting very small result for the amount of energy investment that you're putting into whatever the action is, right? Every business requires action. So for the ones of you who don't know me, I'm Eugenia Oganova. I am Wealth Energetics Business and Marketing Coach. So I literally work with business strategy and marketing strategy. So I'm not going to be one of those coaches that will tell you just sit and meditate and abundance will happen and just drop on your lap. No, you got to do the work, which is you got to show up, you're going to create momentum, you got to do soul-aligned action. But if that soul-aligned action is not linked to the proper way of how you meant to do it, to your personality type that is natural for you, then it's going to feel very hard because you're not doing it the way that you meant to do it. So I'm going to teach a course. It's called Abundance Gate course, which is where I'm going to go into the details of how to literally do this process so that you can clean up your subconscious sabotaging stories and permanently change your negative habits by reprogramming your brain. Literally, like actually change that neuron connection and know what to focus on based on your unique personality types. That way you clean up what's holding you back from becoming an abundance magnet and from being in control of your destiny. The word control got such a bad rap, like, oh, control, it means you're not allowing the universe or whatever. No, you gotta be in partnership with the universe, which means there is a job that universe meant to do and there is a job that you meant to do. And what often happens is we forget that, or it's not being taught. This is what makes me unique, is that I actually teach that in-between part that's missing. That way you work with the universe, but you do your part. And you know what your part is. So you're not doing all the things. You're only doing the things that actually match your specific abundance personality types. That way you are applying yourself correctly, so you are in control of what's happening in your life, in your business, in your relationships, even inside your own head, even inside your own emotions. Emotions don't just happen to you. We actually create them. And there is a way to know how to create different emotions if you don't like the ones you're having. So that's what I teach in my Abundance Gate course. It is awesome. It's going to change your life. Anybody who ever went through it were like, oh my God, like, why is this not taught in school? Like, this is something that I wish I knew from the foundation, from beginning, from like high school or something, in order to make my whole life work better. So I definitely invite you to sign up. The link is in description. In this Abundance Gate course, we will help you discover what is your unique abundance path. Like what is it that you meant to do versus doing all the things, so that you hone in on your special energetics. We will also uncover who do you need to be in order to create the future that you desire. See, our future is like everything is possible, but out of all this possibility, you pick specific things that work for you. And if you don't know how to do it, then it's your ego that's doing it. So instead of the soul actually guiding you and then you following through correctly, most of the time people slide into their ego doing it, which means it's out of lack. It's out of not enoughness. Like, oh, I want to fill my program so that I feel safe. Or, oh, I want to create this event so that I feel special. Or, oh, I want somebody to respond to my posts so that I feel like I'm needed. Those are all ego-based drives. And cleaning them up and realigning to the soul drive is essential in order to make your life work and your business work. We will discover your unique abundance contract. That's your personality types. That's how you are wired this lifetime, so that you know what to do and what not to do, so that you know what your thoughts and emotions and everything needs to be kind of funneled into, and what to watch out for not to do. So you're really conscious about that. So that will unlock your wealth energetics for you to actually receive abundance. So we work a lot on receiving. So many times I see people focus on how do I magnetize, how do I make it happen? And then when it comes, they don't receive because they have all this subconscious junk about why receiving is dangerous or bad or not allowed or whatever else. All this stuff is blocking what is coming in. So you don't want to do all the work and then not being able to receive it. Like, that's just silly. So in my course, that's also one of the things we focus on. Like, how do you actually receive? How do you get out of your own way to let yourself take in what the universe has in store for you, so that you can take responsibility for your abundance and finally manifest all the things you want on your terms, with ease, with flow, with momentum. So that Abundance Gate course will change your brain, will change your life, will change your habits. And this is allowing you to have techniques that you can then utilize in your own life. It's a 6 weeks course, so you get life coaching from me and materials to work on. And you also get every week 8 hours energy transmission to help you rewire your system. And you get 6 Theta brain meditations. Those things are amazing. Everybody who took that course before all say that pretty much the meditations alone worth the whole course, because those are specifically coded to go into your brain at a certain frequency, and then you get instructions as to what you're focusing on while the energy is flowing through your headphones, and that modifies it in a customized way for you. So I invite you to be in my course, to play with the abundance energies, to learn how to be in control of your destiny, be an abundance magnet, and only do things the way that works for you. The link is in the description of this video, and hopefully I will see you soon.